can you sell the inventory that you've put in a house that you've just staged?
And the answer is a resounding yes.
Yes, you can.
We do it all the time.
Yes, we do. So what happens is you create this really beautiful staged home. Somebody comes and buys it, and they want your stuff. And this is going to happen to you if it's not happened already. And there are some great opportunities for you here if you choose to accept them.
Yes, and there are some things that you want to consider before you go down this road, and we're going to explain a little bit of that to you.
Yeah. So I think, what would you say is probably the most important thing to consider if you're a stager thinking about selling inventory?
Your cost.
Yeah, the cost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's your overhead, right? So let's think about a living room set, for example. How much does it cost you to purchase all of those items? Hopefully you're getting them at wholesale and you're getting them brand new, especially if you're selling them to other people, you want it to be brand new, right? What are you spending? What are your shipping charges? What does it cost for your receiver to receive those items and to assemble them? Or how much time do you spend assembling new furniture? Because your time is money, right?
Yeah. What about like moving costs? How much money did it cost you to move it there, or is it going to cost you to move it out? How much time did you spend shopping that stuff? Was that an easy shop for you, or do you have 10 hours invested? We talk sometimes about something called cost opportunity, and that's pretty much just really looking at what your time is worth to you at the end of the day. Can your time be better spent or doing something else? So if you've got a ton of time invested and you don't want to go through that hassle, or replenishing your inventory is going to be difficult, it might not be worth it for you to consider.
Right.
But if you're wanting to grow, there's a great opportunity here. So let's just use some really generic numbers, Erin.
Okay. All right.
Like, let's say you have invested $5,000 in a typical living room. One living room package, you spent $5,000 on staging inventory for the whole living room.
Yeah. So what does that include?
Yeah. What's that include?
So that's going to be your sofa, your dining room table, 2 end tables, a rug, art, lamps, tabletop accessories, pillows, throw pillows, side chairs, side tables for your chairs,
accessories,
more accessories,
artwork,
floor lamps.
She said dining table, but she meant coffee
Did I say
table.
dining table?
You did.
It's fine.
She meant coffee table.
You know what I meant.
You know what she meant.
Dining table.
Yes.
Whatever.
All of those things.
All of those things. Right. So if that cost you $5,000 to put together, these are big. These are big numbers. It depends again on your market. You might be spending more, or you might be spending less. Totally depends. But just for the sake of this formula, so that you can get these numbers right in your head, say you sold the set for $10,000. How much of that is true profit to you? So it kind of feels like $5,000, and that's awesome.
Yeah. But all those things we just talked about previously, like, what were your moving costs? What was the time that you invested to shop it? All of those things come into play when you're thinking about what your real profit is out of that.
Right.
So
not only to mention, assembling your stuff, damages, right? The time it takes to open a box, dispose of all of the waste that comes with when you buy furniture, guys. There are huge boxes. There's so much recycle waste. There's so much styrofoam. There's so much waste, and it's kind of an unavoidable part of this business.
Yeah.
But the time and the effort that it takes to dispose of that stuff, the cost associated with it. If it's received by a receiver, they have a fee. Like our movers will receive it and hold it in their warehouse. They charge us for the space it takes up in the warehouse. They charge us for the receiving of the item. They charge us for assembly. They storage, returns. But they also dispose of all that. They recycle all the cardboard for us, and they do all of these things. So these fees are things that you need to account for when you are looking at the cost opportunity.
Yeah, right. But once you figure that out for yourself, and you find that you could still potentially make a nice little profit by selling off your staging inventory to an interested home buyer, then you've got a little chunk of change there to do something fun with. Or if you want to do what we did, we did both.
We do both.
Yeah,
I mean,
we used it. I mean, that's how we started.
Yeah.
We used those profits to reinvest and buy more inventory. There are a couple other things, though, I think we should probably talk about when we're thinking about whether or not you want to sell your inventory. So do you want to reinvest your time in buying a whole new living room set? Mm-hmm. If you do, cool, but make sure you understand how long it's going to take for that to happen. Mm-hmm. Are you ordering things that take 8 weeks to come in? And does that mean that you are left without any inventory if you get a call for a job next week? You kind of got to feel that out a little bit. Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
Guys, before we go any further, do us a favor, hit the subscribe button, click on the link below, and jump on our email list. Send us your questions. We want to hear from you. Drop a comment in the comments below. Send us the questions that arise for you in your staging business, whether it's relevant to this topic or any other topic, because we're here and we love hearing from you.
Yeah. Okay, so on that note, another thing I think that you need to consider when you think about selling your staging furnitures, do you have a place to
store it?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Do you have a place?
Yeah.
Do you have a place to store it? So if you've reinvested your money, if you've sold your set and now you've reinvested to buy more stuff, do you have ample storage for that new stuff that's coming readily available to you?
Yes.
Just something to consider.
Yes, and then another thing that you want to consider is if you sold this inventory, are you forfeiting future profits by not being able to use this inventory to stage other houses? So let's go back to these numbers. Mm-hmm. Say you have $5,000 invested in this living room set. Every time you install this living room set, these are rough numbers, guys. All of our markets are different, but suppose that every time you install this living room set in a house, you make $1,500 or $2,000. You've invested $5,000. How long does it take for that $5,000 to move it into different houses before those $1,500 increments pay off the $5,000 initial investment? And at what point in terms of your profit margins is that worthwhile for you to no longer be able to use that set? Or again, you replace it, you reinvest, and then you start moving that into new houses again. So some things to keep in mind.
Important things to keep in mind. Ask us questions about this. This is an interesting topic and a lot of you have asked. So let us know what you think. Drop some comments and questions in the links below.
Yes. Oh, one more idea.
What do you guys?
Okay, so one other thing that we've done when we knew that when we really got into the wholesale market and copying and pasting and repeating and knowing our aesthetic and finding that look and then repeating it over and over and over again, we made price lists. Oh. And we made them available to realtors because we would get phone calls all the time like, hey, is your stuff for sale? And the answer is always yes. So, make your life easy. Like if you have if you have this sofa and these chairs and you're using them repeatedly, go ahead and make your markup, make your price list. So then when someone's coming to buy the house, if they say, hey, is this sofa for sale? You'll have the numbers right there in front of them. So it just saves you a lot of headache in the long run.
Yeah. That is our tip of the day.
There it is.
That's a good one.
Guys, we are Jenny and Aaron with Revisions Mentor, and we love hearing from you. So stay tuned, hit subscribe. We have so much more to share.
Thanks for following.